All right, so everybody's been wanting to know how I post ears. There's a lot of different methods, and I'll say why I like them and what exactly I'm doing. We'll start off with supplies. Okay, so here I have witch hazel or alcohol, rubbing alcohol. That's what I use to clean out the ear, make sure there's no sores every time you take them down, check them, clean them, etc. The medicated powder, it can be foot powder or body powder. That's optional, and that's what I'm gonna put on the base of the foam to help keep the ear dry. The pre-tape, you can also, it's called ankle tape. There's all kinds of different brands out there. That helps smooth the skin tissue out and kind of makes it so that the tape adheres a little bit better, because unfortunately the only good breathable tape is this Zona's tape. It's nice, thick, as well as breathable. The new Kindle Covenant is not breathable and you'll have mushy ears. So that's what I'm going to use for the outside of the tape. And if you need a little help, like I said, you can spray inside the ear and outside as well, and it'll help the tape adhere better. The 3M Metapore H tape I use to create the stay. It's super duper duper sticky. You'll even have troubles getting it off your finger. So it's great to create your stay since you need something secure to hold and stay inside the ear, especially if you're doing it by yourself and you need to reach for tape, or you've got a puppy moving around. Once you get that stay in there and that ear stretch, you don't have to worry about having to restretch the ear because the puppy moved and the stay didn't adhere to the ear. This is a great fabric and leather adhesive. And if the tape starts coming undone, or you want to put a little bit on each tip of the tape to make sure that it stays good, or if they still have their ears in the cups, this helps hold that tape back down as it starts getting dirty and peeling away. But when you're posting ears, you really should take the ears down every 4 or 5 days just so that you can look inside and make sure they don't have any infections growing. I use the 14-inch zip ties, heavy duty, 120 tensile strength. One zip tie will make a set of stays. I use the 5/8 inch backer rod foam for the bottom of my ear stay, so that's the part that goes inside the ear. I have tried to use an entire length of the zip tie, but I find I can't get a good bend and a good stretch, so I don't like using the backer rod all the way up. You'll need a Dremel so that when you create your stay, you can trim down the edges so that's not so sharp in the ear. You'll need pointy scissors and something to put your medicated powder in. Also, you'll notice I forgot to tell you about the Zoe's. That is the best adhesive remover, and it's alcohol-based instead of petroleum-based or oil-based. So when you take your ears down, you can put them right back up if you want. It works great, but as you can see, I have a spray nozzle on there. Just buy a bottle from the dollar store or something, and make sure you get one that's at least the length, because you can always cut off the bottom if it's too big, but if it's too short, you'll never be able to use the spray at the bottom of the bottle. And then same with the witch hazel, that's for cleaning up the ears. Same thing, I put a spray bottle on it because it just makes it easier. Also, to clarify, the reason I have two kinds of tape is the 3M tape, although very sticky and great for stays, it's not very thick. It's very thin and easy to get dirt on and begins to peel away. So it's not good for wrapping the outside of the ears. You need something a little bit more durable, but for the inside for your stays, this is the best because it's the stickiest. And it gives the outside tape something to adhere to as well as adhering to the ear. To speed things along, I've already created one stay, and I've already Dremeled the end of one of the zip ties. This is the end that will go inside the ear. And I've already ripped off my pieces of tape. Obviously, you need two of the same size, and I stagger them into smaller and smaller lengths. And there's two of each size because one for each ear. All right, so I have my stay. I've cut off about a 1-inch section of the 5/8 backer rod. The first thing I'm going to do is place a slit inside there that I can stick my stay in. Be sure that you don't rip each side of the ends because you need the stay to stay inside, and I'm only going to go not quite halfway down. because I want this foam part to be in the ear and protected, and I don't want the stay coming out the bottom and jamming into the ear. I've tried to do it with cotton stays at the bottom, but the cotton's just not thick enough these days. So now I've made my slit. I'm going to take it, stick my zip tie in there, and you want to make sure that it goes in straight and level, because you want this to be able to go in the ear straight, not cockeyed or anything like that. Then, to make sure that that stays in place and the stay doesn't move around inside the ear, I'm going to tear off a piece of tape about 2 inches in length. That's my Zonus, my good hardy tape. And I'm going to go halfway over the stay and onto the zip tie to make sure it adheres. And then as I wrap it around and I get both sides of it nice and secure, I take the extra tape and kind of go down at an angle just to kind of cover up some of the foam. And then we're going to be doing a reverse wrap. So now I take my 3M tape, my nice sticky stuff, and it's 1-inch squares, so I tear off 2 squares, and I'm going to put it on one side of the zip tie, and I think I have the wrong size. No, I guess I'm okay. And the reason I do that is that when I do my reverse wrap, that's going to help hold that tape around there, so again the zip tie cannot slide around the stay. So now I'm going to start off taking a piece of the tape. I'm going to fold it over so it's got a good grip, and then I'm going to start wrapping backwards, trying to catch the tape as we come around. It'll catch this side, and it'll help hold that tape that we're reversing onto the stay so it can't slip around inside. And you just keep wrapping at an angle till you have this end covered. And then we have that nice square right here, that nice perforated line. I'm going to rip it, kind of keep wrapping it around. And then just take that, flip it over. And there you have your other stay. And then I'm going to take my stay. I've got my powder in my bowl. I'm going to cover it really good, because that's going to go down in the air and hopefully keep it clean and dry. Pause. All right, so now I have my pretty girl. I usually don't have somebody to help me, just to show you that it can be done by yourself. And what's great is because this tape is nice and sticky, once we get it into the base, it'll stay. So the first thing that you want to do is, you'll notice you need to go way down past that bump and get to the very bottom of the ear. So you've got to get that stay past that bump that's inside the ear. And you'll know when you've got it down inside the pocket. If you don't get it lower than that bump, it's going to pop out at the bottom. Okay, so with my moving target here, and if you have somebody to help you, by all means, get somebody. Okay, stay. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I'm pulling away that little knot. I'm getting that sucker down in there. Okay, and then push it down more. And then stretch the ear, bend the rod, bend that rod, and roll that ear up onto the stay. Oh, wow. Shoot, I forgot the spray. Okay, so normally what I should have done was taken my medical pre-spray, sprayed the inside and outside of the ear just to get better adhesion. But as you can see, the stay's down here in the pocket, and I did have a good stretch, but since it came out, I'm going to pre-spray. All right, sorry about that. We'll try again. All right, so I'm going to stick it down inside the base, pull that ear and stretch it, and bend your zip tie and stretch it too. Hang on to the ear tip. Sit. And then quickly grab your base piece, your biggest, largest piece. You got to make sure you cover up that stay right there. And then you're going to wrap forward, let that natural fold go behind the ear. Take it around. Again, why isn't my tape working? All right, now I can let go of the dog for a second. All right, so now we're gonna start taking the next shortest piece, putting it onto the stay, wrapping it forward, catching the natural fold, coming down, and here's where I'm going to pick up the gaps that I missed because I'm coming down at an angle. And the key is eventually we want to make sure that this stays closed so that cannot pop out. So I will go back and add a piece there. But again, each piece go slightly above the piece that you had, bring it on around at an angle. It'll naturally keep going downward, and you pick up the gap. And then I've just got a small little piece to get the tip of the ear. You can leave it open or not. I find sometimes it gets more swollen when you don't completely cover it, but it, you know, especially if I know I'm going to take it down and I don't get it too tight. So there's your ear, a little bit of the tip so I can see if it gets swollen or not. And then I'm going to grab an extra piece of tape because I want to cover this space up so that ear stay is not going to pop out. All right, so I'm going to pull that ear up nice and tight. I'm going to stick that back down over that stay. And I'm going to rewrap that spot right there because I want that good and covered since I had a moving victim here. All right, there we go. And then all you have to do is turn the dog on the other side, rinse and repeat. So here we go, our lovely Harmony. Her ears are up. I don't put a bandage across the top because I find if you have a good zip tie and you get that stretch in there, the natural muscles can work. And if you make sure you have the sides covered up so that the base cannot pop out, there's no reason to put the tape across the top. But if you want to, you can, but I don't.